All right, let me get this straight. So you think There Will Be Blood is like one of the greatest films ever made, except for Paul Dano's terrible performance?
I'm not Quentin Tarantino, bro.
No, this is what you were just saying.
Yeah,
Who's
okay,
Quentin
yeah.
Taran? What does he have to do with There Will Be Blood? I haven't heard anything about him on this banner.
Nothing at all. Just nothing at all.
Just your opinion about this movie. What do you have against Paul Dano? Is what I want to know, Matt.
I don't have anything against him. I think he's a lovely actor.
That I like that occasionally pop culture just gets so out of whack that like everybody hears about it. And Quentin Tarantino.
Even I heard about it.
Even you heard about it. I was like, there's a 50-50 chance Matt will not know what I'm talking about here. But you got it. Yeah. So one of the most legendary directors of all time, Quentin Tarantino, a eccentric personality, if you will, he's doled out his list of top 20 movies for the 21st century.
But why?
I don't know, because I think he has a podcast now and he just likes to talk about stuff and he talks, he's a talker. So
I guess.
People want to know what this guy who's made some of the greatest films of all time, arguably, thinks the greatest movies are. And his list was interesting. I agreed with some of the picks. Some of them I was like, what are you talking about?
I know, but why did he have to go and start
that was super unprofessional. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he put There Will Be Blood as his number 4 pick and then qualified it with saying that it would have been the greatest film of all time if it wasn't for Paul Dano's terrible performance in it. And that he was just a weak actor and just all this other stuff. And I was like, wow, okay. And then the entire internet came to Paul Dano's defense, which was cool because obviously he had an amazing performance in that and has some really memorable performances. I remember a lot of his performances and different things he does. And he is kind of this weird character that can hit creepy roles and all that stuff just right. He's definitely a specific type of character. He couldn't be the leading man in an action film, but there's so many spots where you're yeah, Paul Dano would be great for this part. Anyway, the internet exploded and who knows? It's Tarantino just being Tarantino. He can kind of say or do whatever he wants, and I don't think.
Well, he can, but clearly, people are like,
well, he's not going to be working with Paul Dano anytime in the future.
Yeah, clearly. There's this red carpet picture of Tarantino behind while he's taking an interview. It's really funny.
I've seen it.
It's this has been going on for a while for him.
Yeah,
he's just got staring daggers at him.
It'd be funny if that all stemmed from some weird thing where he Paul Dano turned down a role that Tarantino wanted him for, and he's like, this affront will not stand.
Or it could just be he genuinely just doesn't think he's a good actor. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all opinions at the end of the day.
Yeah, and his top 20 list was funny. It had a whole bunch of weird choices on there. There was some Rob Zombie films on there, and you're like, okay, whatever you're into.
Rob Zombie made movies.
Yeah, not good movies, I'll tell you that much. But anyway, welcome to the Level With Me podcast, everybody. Thank you for dropping by. Despite our talk on movies and directors, we actually do tend to talk about games mostly on this show. Thank you for dropping by. We're live on every Wednesday, and for Patreon members, which you can find a link to in the video description, they can watch us live recording the show on Mondays. The thing I wanted to start off talking about today, game related wise, is I think Arc Raiders made their first kind of mistake. They've been
making a couple mistakes here and there, but this is the most obvious one.
Yeah. So Arc has been we've talked about it endlessly on the podcast so far because we've both been putting lots of hours into it, and it's just tons of fun. Great game, love it. They've been making mostly good choices with a few questionable here and there, a couple little issues here and there, but nothing major. But they finally announced their prestige style system. I think it's called Projects or whatever, where you can reset your character.
Expedition. Yep.
Yes, their expedition. You can reset your character, and they basically detailed what the requirements were to get your bonuses if you reset your character. You're not just going to reset it for no reason. It's going to give you a couple of little perks for doing a reset. Some of them are one of them is a 12 inventory stash slot. bonus, which if you haven't played the game, you get 280 when your stash is fully maxed out, which doesn't take too long. And getting 12 extra slots on top of 280 is like, wow. Oh boy, don't spoil us there, Arc Raiders. My gosh. I'm going to be able to carry a whole handful of guns and ammo on top of that. My God. There's a few XP bonus things for your reset, so you'll be able to rank up a little faster. There's going to be some new skins and cosmetics. The one that people seem to be focusing on most is that you can earn up to 5 additional skill points in addition to the 75, I believe you get normally for ranking up.
For leveling up to 75, yep.
Yep. So you can get 5 right from the get-go if you finish your expedition with 5 million worth of credits or inventory combined in your stash by the end of the expedition. Now, 5 million is quite a lot, Matt.
It is. That is a lot. That's not insignificant.
It is not insignificant. And just to give you reference, I mean, I've put over 100 hours into the game. And when I calculated my inventory value, it was like coming in at around 1 million, And I went...
So you would get 1 skill point if you did the expedition.
1 skill point. So, I did a little reading, little research, looked up some guides on what the fastest way to farm credits would be. How long would it take? It's going to take a long time to get the rest of those 4 million that I would want, which is a big incentive for doing the reset, by the way. Getting those skill points, that could mean a lot, especially if they balance out that skill tree system to be better. 5 extra points is no small thing. So what's ended up happening is I log on, I farm a bunch of crap, and then extract, and then add it to my thing, and I go, wait, I got to do this for another 15 to 20 hours before I hit 5 million. They've basically just turned the meta of Arc Raiders into the most boring, mundane, crappy way to play the game, and everybody I know hates it and is just like, why would I want the skill points, but you're telling me to basically go be a gold farmer in World of Warcraft for the next 15 to 20 hours. Yeah. What's your take, Matt?
So I think this is the worst way they could have gone about giving people the perks. First of all, I feel like maybe it's just me, but didn't we kind of already do all of this? The whole expedition is you got to go collect, all these weapons and things and, and loot, and you submit it to the expedition, and now you're ready for the expedition. I thought that was we did this. Why are we doing this again?
Too. It was not a small task because you had to get all these things at random times. And you're like, well, yeah, I've seen a cooling fan before, but now that I need 5 of them, there's none in sight. It's going to take me a couple of days to collect all this stuff.
Right.
We
so
went
I feel
through the journey.
We've already done this.
Yeah.
We basically have done this with the expedition. I thought that was the whole reason to do that. And then just to slap on, one of the worst ways of handling it for you need 1 million per, as you said, it results in some of the rattiest gameplay that I feel is really counterintuitive for the end of a wipe. I know Tarkov is a different beast, but at least in Tarkov, one of the things that people really enjoy about it, and for extraction games in general, is that if you are going to have a wipe, you are then incentivized because you have all this loot just to use it. Go out, have fun, use all that stuff you've been hoarding, be like, well, it's not going to be here anyways.
Yeah.
But in this case, you actually are decentivized to do that because it's worth so much money. It is you've got if you got a Venator level 4, that's 30 grand right there.
Yep. And I sold all of my epic weapons, all of my Venators. I've kept some of the blue stuff in case I want to play with friends and we actually want to try, but it's insane. I sold my grappling hooks, that I had, which are some of my favorite gadgets to use and add all that fun stuff to the gameplay. You're just oh, the game is telling me to sell all the cool stuff, not have fun with it,
and not use it.
And now just go and farm fruit baskets. Which is basically one of the better ways to get currency at the moment. If you go to a Lush Bloom map and look for all the fruit baskets, you just collect your fruit and then get out of there. And you're like, what am I even playing right now? I'm just playing Fruit Basket Collector Simulator, where occasionally somebody's just going to kill you at the extract. And you're like, cool.
Yep. So
Great.
it literally promotes people just to go in either with a free loadout or a loadout that is very minimal, bare bones, go around, like you said, to get fruit or just gobble everything up and then just leave and just extract and just keep doing that over and over and over and over again and not actually use and interact with the mechanics of the game, which is what made it so much fun. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know why they decided to go with the currency. They could have
Yeah.
done anything else, I feel,
Yeah.
and it would have been a better option. My thought was just make it like you need to kill Ark and you need to bring Ark material and then you use that Ark and you submit that like we were doing before with the expedition.
Hmm.
But that way, like you can use your good stuff because it's the stuff that's meant to take out Ark, right? Like
Totally.
and not ruin it because you're like, well, if I could bring this in, but it's 50 grand. And if I die and I don't make 50 grand, then I've basically just wasted that.
Yeah.
And
You can go back in this. You can deprogress if you bring in
right,
good gear and
right,
then you get ganked, which happens
right.
all the time.
Happens all the time.
You will
Yeah.
then be like, cool, I just played for 3 hours and I think I went backwards in progression. Fantastic. Like
Right.
it's such a bad system with so many obvious solutions to do it better. And you didn't have to launch the system to know it was going to be bad. Like
Yeah,
if they
that's the kind of
explained
concerning
this
part.
to the community, everybody would have been like, here's what's going to go wrong. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So
And
this is
and
a
even if
pretty
they just
big misstep.
notified,
Yeah.
even if they just noted like at the beginning of the season, be like, oh hey, and it's gonna require you to get 5 million, so make sure you guys are, you
Hmm.
know, at least if there was a bigger window to know, because I think it's like in a little over a week is
10
when the launch
days.
window. Yeah, 10 days. So it's it's just right around the corner. I feel like they either scrapped this together or they were really trying to figure out like
Yeah.
what is the appropriate amount. And they're kind of flying by the seat of their own pants right now because if they're not, then and they planned this from the very beginning, like, oh boy,
Yeah.
it's a little rough, little concerning.
Somebody dug into the game files and found their original numbers, which were way too low. So it seems like they quite literally just picked a round number. They're like, 1,000,000 skill points for one skill. What's the problem? Or 1,000,000 currency for one skill. You're like,
Right.
who has 1,000,000? Like, it's a lot. We're spending it to go have fun in Arc Raiders. And then you give us a 10-day countdown to currency. And you go, wait a minute, what if I like 10 days? That's 15 to 20 hours in 10 days of not just 15 to 20 hours, but 15 to 20 boring hours where you really can't screw up too much. You have to like just go in, get your 50 to 60K, get out, go in, get your 50 to 60K, get out. It's like painfully boring, painfully unrewarding, and does everything wrong about what makes Arc Raiders fun. It takes you away from all the fun stuff. And I think they should change it, to be honest, before this 10-day thing. I think they should just go.
I don't think they will, but
Yeah.
I agree. I think they really, I think they dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal because the wipes are optional. You don't even have to do it. And the rewards are okay. They're permanent, so at least some of them. Like you do get, like you said, 12 slots for your stash, which is but if you do that over an entire year, like you now have potentially like 40 extra slots, which is it's gonna add up.
Yeah.
You get perks. I feel like I don't know how the perk system is gonna be permanent because if you do it over and over and over again, as I said, throughout an entire 20 more perk points compared to someone else, and while the perks aren't great in the game, they can impact the game.
I wouldn't be surprised if they
way.
changed it. So like each successive reset. So the first reset gives you the 5 skill points, but then if you do a second reset, it gives you something else or one extra skill. I don't know. I see what
you're saying. So it doesn't just keep adding on top of it because it feels like it would just be so busted at that point. Because I know that they want to make this game for casuals. And if you then are going against someone who has all the skill points unlocked, like, yeah, they'll have an advantage, but it's not going to be a huge advantage. Like you can't beat them, but it is still an advantage. It'll be a bigger advantage as time goes on, if that's how they're going to handle it.
Yeah. It unlocks a couple of problems, but I think long term they have a bunch of easy fixes for how to not let it snowball out of control and give other players like crazy advantages. That 12 slot thing is ridiculous. Like even if you're saying, oh, a year of progression, you get 40 extra slots. You're like, okay, I think this game
I'm
needs
hoping that they have
500
plans.
slots to be semi-playable, you know,
I'm
like
hoping that this is just like the cherry on top, and that they, for the season 1 or season 2 or whatever, in the future, they have plans of adjusting the way the inventory system works. Because if they don't, then that would be another absolute dropping of the ball. Because I think that's everyone's biggest critique right now is the inventory and the constant having to,
yeah.
manage every single raid to get back inside. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be interesting if they, I don't know, maybe talked about some of their future plans a little bit, but maybe they're thinking on it. They have made some fun updates, you know. They made the I really like their fix to people cheesing through
Yeah.
the door system, the locked doors. You
Yeah.
could collision glitch your way through and then get to some really valuable loot even if you didn't have a key. Well, now if you don't have a key to open the door, the whole room turns on fire and kills you instantly. And I was like, that's a fun solution to that problem.
Yeah.
So they've been quick. They've made updates, but they're making some missteps along the way. And this one grinds my gears because I'm still on the fence about like I want those skill points, but I really don't want to spend 15 to 20 hours over the next week doing the most mundane, boring gameplay I can possibly think about. I have got
Yep.
better shit to do, you know,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
And just don't do it. Just remember it's just a game, and you'll probably want to take advantage of it anyway. So but
Yeah.
it still sucks because you feel like you're missing out. It's FOMO. It's literally
100%.
the definition of FOMO.
Yeah. So yeah, that is annoying. But we'll see how they handle it down the line. Ark is still such a fantastic game, and with their upcoming snow mods that are coming for the map stuff, you know,
Yeah.
what's it
Yep.
called, like whiteout or something? I don't know. There's some sort of winterized version of maps coming. That
Flickering
sounds like
Flames event, I think is what it's called. Could be
yeah,
wrong though.
yeah. I'm really curious to see what that is, but it could be extremely cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
are you
As
still
you said,
playing?
this
Yeah,
is a misstep, but I still absolutely adore the game. And like I said, I think they're flying by the seat of their pants because I don't think they were expecting this much enthusiasm for the game. Like every
yeah,
game dev probably hopes for it, but to expect that a month later they're still sitting at 260 concurrent thousand players
yeah.
is bananas. Like there's no way they expected it to be like cooking this much. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And
We'll we'll
I
we'll see
will
how they
give
handle it.
them credit where credit is due. They are trying to redesign the reset system for extraction shooters. They're
Yes.
trying to come up with a new system that says you don't have to reset if you don't want to, and there's pros and cons. And that is cool. That's cool that they're taking that approach and saying, "Hey, if you don't have 100 months, 100 hours to invest in this game over a seasonal period of time, you don't have to you're not going to be forced to reset, and you can work towards the next reset moment
Right.
if that
If you
interests
want
you."
to. Yeah.
So that's cool. I'm glad that they're innovating, and with innovation comes mistakes along the way. This one just felt a little easy to see coming, you know.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so hopefully they'll fix it. Still enjoying the game. It's still very addictive and cool and has all the things that I
It's
like in
still
it.
fantastic.
It's still fantastic, just annoying that I'm potentially going to sink all this time into the game doing mundane crap. Are you going to do it?
You could just play normally and just play it for even longer.
Yeah, that's true. Are you going to, well, one, are you going to do the reset? And two, are you going to try and get 5 mil in your stash?
I plan on doing the reset. Yeah. Will I get to 5 mil? I don't know. I think I'm around like 1.5 in just the currency. And then I think I have like a mil plus is for my stash.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm kind of getting up there, but oh God. It's slow and we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. And again, like we said, it incentivizes as soon as you think about going for it, you go, well, I'm not bringing any of my good stuff in. I got to bring
Yeah.
all the trash in, you know, and then
Yeah.
you're just playing with trash stuff and
It
super
also just
conservatively.
solidifies the whole gray weapon meta too. Like everyone's already using Stitchers
Yeah.
and Pharaohs, and it's like, oh well, it'd be nice if there was more of a reason to use the other weapons. But no, at the end of a season, it's like we started the season using gray weapons, we're ending the season using gray weapons, and that seems odd from a
Yeah.
gameplay design around progression.
Well, and I saw this thing where a guy was like, well, you know what? I'm going to have some fun with this system. Instead of going in and farming loot, I'm just going to go kill everybody else and farm their loot. And what he
I mean,
found
yeah, you
is
can do that.
they're all using free kits and have trash loot on them. So you're taking all this risk, but everybody's using the worst kits in the game now. So you're not picking up
Yeah.
epic guns off of people and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay. So I can risk it all and I'm going to get no reward because nobody's taking any risks now. They
Yep.
really screwed up their end metagame for this seasonal reset thing. And whatever, they can fix it next go round. They got some time. What have you been playing outside of Arc Raiders?
Well, there is Routine, which is a horror game. We could talk about
Yeah.
that. Okay. So Routine,
Yeah, it's been in
is
development
apparently
for like as long as Star Citizen.
yeah, like 14
Almost.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, long time, and it is incredibly atmospheric.
Mhm.
It's very minimal. There's like almost no HUD at all,
Mhm.
and you are a person who kind of wakes up in just a random room where you discover that you're on the moon. You're on a moon base, and what moon colony? More like a
Okay.
moon colony. So it's quite expansive. You're not just like in a small little area. And the graphics are fantastic. It's kind of has that realistic vibe where they do it in such a way where it really feels like you're there. It's
Mhm.
also because it's just in rooms, it looks graphically amazing. A
Okay.
lot of horror games usually look better because of that. There's no foliage you have to render, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of So it looks great, and that adds the immersion and everything. Good spooks.
Mhm.
Good. You basically go around trying to figure out why there's no one alive and you're just all alone. And then there's robots that show up. And why are the robots killing people? And I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah,
Okay.
things progress and it gets weird and scary and it's very atmospheric. It has some of the most random ass puzzles that,
Okay.
like, I'm just like, what are you even doing? To the point where I'm like, did they even test this?
Is it like
There
put the
is
square block in the square hole? Like what are you
It's
talking
not even a
about?
puzzle.
Yeah.
So they because it's open-ended, you can't really go anywhere, right? Like
Uh-huh.
it puts you into a room and you kind of have to figure out what to do. Remember those old games, those like you click around point and click adventure games
Yes.
where you have to click
Missed.
on everything and you have to figure out like, oh, what can I even interact with?
Yeah.
It's like that, but sometimes you don't even know like what you're even capable of doing. So the best example and the most egregious, and this kind of permeates throughout the entire title,
Okay.
is at the beginning of the game, you can crouch down and go through a vent, right?
Okay.
Normal game stuff, right?
Sure.
Vents are normal. But that vent is open and you can clearly see, I can go through that, right?
Yeah.
So you eventually end up in a room where you have no idea where to go. Everything is locked. You see a vent on the ground. I'm like, but there's a metal
Yeah.
grate in front of it, like a
Yeah.
metal thing in front of it. So I go down, crouch, try to interact with it. Nothing. My chat tells me after like 10 minutes of trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong, it's a doggy door. You're supposed to apparently just guess to like thrust your body through the doggy door to get to the other side. It is baffling.
Yeah.
Like, I know it sounds small, but it's just like, what?
Yeah.
You've already
also,
taught the
like,
gamer.
what vent in any game ever has been a doggy door?
Yeah, exactly.
None.
Like, it's just,
Yeah.
there's like, you've already established that the vents that you can go through are open.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you introduce one that's closed, but it's not actually. It is.
You know what's weird about that, Matt, is like,
What?
those are the kind of things that, and I'm speaking with game dev brain here, but
Yeah.
you would find that through playtesting immediately. That people are like, this sucks. I can't figure out what to do. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, oh, yeah, we need to communicate how this works better. So part of me is like, did they do playtesting? And also, when this game came out, because it was in development for so long, it made some headlines and people were like, wait, did this game just shadow drop essentially? Where they're like, it's been in dev forever and then it just appeared on store and people were like, wait, what? Like,
I think there was some advertisements because even I saw like an ad for it here and there, but yeah, it did kind of come out of nowhere for a lot of people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that moment was definitely the most egregious, but there's a lot of those sort of, you just need to find the needle in the haystack where you can kind of tell that they were trying to guide the player to pick up this one little thing, but that one little thing, because there's no like pickups, there's nothing like to indicate, there's no glowing
Oh, there's no
anything.
pickup indicator in the game or anything?
Oh, well, there is, like, if you get like right up to it, it's like,
Okay,
oh, I can actually pick in and out, but you have to be like right up on it.
Okay,
And
so
you
there's
see clutter
no
on a desk
glowing,
and you
there's
just
no, yeah, gotcha.
yeah, you see clutter on a desk, and unless you're like right next to it, you will not know that you can pick
Yeah,
it up. And so you'll just walk right past the thing that you need to find, and you're like, what am I doing wrong? It's like,
yeah.
oh, that one thing right there.
I
So
can
it's like I
can
said, not even
appreciate,
puzzles.
yeah. I can
It's just
appreciate games.
annoyances.
I see what you're saying. And I can appreciate games trying to avoid gaming tropes, right?
Yeah.
We all get tired of the yellow arrow pointing up,
Right.
the ladder being yellow, the thing you need to
Right.
click on being yellow. It's like that Ubisoft trope where it's like, where do I go? Oh, follow the things that are just randomly painted yellow in the environment. It's kind of obnoxious and it takes you out of the world. So many games have that little twinkle, that little flash, that little sparkle over items that you are supposed to be able to interact with. And that lets you know relatively quickly that you can go and interact with it. And we've gotten so used to that being a tool that, and not actually looking around and spending all this time looking for things, which is what you did before they literally invented that way of drawing your eye to things. You just had to explore more. And that's what a lot of old school games were. We're just like really trying different things and spending more time with it. But if you're going to do that, you got to find a good way of getting people to it without them.
It makes it a lot harder.
Yeah. And
it makes it a lot harder.
If you're going to hit people with that kind of gameplay, and the modern game audience expects these tools. So if you're going to take those tools out of there to guide them, you better invent your own stuff that gets people to where you want them to get to. Because I would not want to design a game where people can't figure out how to progress. Like, I would want them to eventually get it and feel a reward in that. But if that reward doesn't come because you had to either look it up online or somebody had to tell you, or by the time you figure it out, it's something so stupid where you're like, wait, it's just this dumb thing over here that I had to click on. That's not rewarding. That's not even a puzzle. No. That's not like you did the right thing.
Haystack.
Yeah.
And it's not, it feels like it disrespects your time a little bit if it's not done properly.
Yeah.
Now, once again, I get that they were trying to make it very immersive, and it is very immersive. And because there's no hand holding, there's really like no quest indicator really. You just kind of have to figure it out.
Yeah.
It feels like once you figure it out, you're like, oh damn, I feel smart, right? Like, so it has those moments. And like, I'm not trying to dunk on the game, but there are definitely some rough edges at times, mainly just the stuff that shouldn't be rough, and which is not, like, in my opinion, gameplay, right? Like, finding an item is not fun. Like, that's just not fun. So I mean, it
can be if the activities around finding something are fun, because that's a lot of games. Is like, go find the missing chest or whatever, and then you have to like kill skeletons and like whatever, forge your way through, and you're like, I found it, but you're doing fun stuff along the way.
Right. I don't think the picking up of the item though and finding it, in a corner is what makes it fun though. But I hear what you're saying. So
yeah,
scary game. It's got some spooks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scary game. Story gets a little weird at the end, and you're kind of like,
so it kind of just
ends out of nowhere. I did beat it. Yeah, it's relatively short. Some people were saying they did it in 4 hours. I did it in 6 hours because I'm me. I'm slow.
Well,
so
you're
maybe
a
lot of these problems are
you're
just
entertaining
problems.
People. You couldn't find the little paperclip, dude. Couldn't
find the paperclip. It's not that bad, but yeah, I at least I think it was on Game Pass. So I think it was on Game Pass.
Okay.
But let me verify that. But yeah, it was neat. It was a neat little game.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'm curious about it because I do like the visuals. That's all I've seen on it. The visuals. I'm like, oh, this looks cool. This has got some style to it. It's got some vibe.
It definitely does, yeah.
And I like that. Yeah, interesting insights from you on the gameplay of it. I think that would drive me a little crazy, to be honest. But it's nice that they eventually published their game. After
took a while.
Yeah, I mean, they had all the typical developer problems of like publishers and investors pulling money out, and then the
Mhm.
project just exploded. And then
Flounders.
yeah, so I doubt they're using original stuff from like 14 years ago.
Oh, I
Other than
doubt it.
maybe
Yeah.
the concepts of the game, it's not like they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, we made this asset 14 years. It's like, no, you had to remake the whole game. Like, let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But cool. That's interesting. I saw you playing more Helldivers.
I
On
did.
Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came out with a new war bond. I did not play the lava worlds that
Mhm.
they introduced, which looked really neat, but I did play with like the minigun, and which is just absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
You're just ripping and tearing with that thing. Speaking of ripping and tearing, they also added in a melee chainsaw called like a deforestation tool or something like that. And you use it to chop off, automatons' legs and stuff.
Nice.
And it's great. It's not like super powerful. Apparently, I didn't realize that there was a chest piece I think that you can wear that increases melee damage by like 100%. So I should have been wearing that because that would have
Yeah.
been like a night and day difference. But even without it, like it was stun locking things and getting the
Mhm.
job done, and yeah, it was pretty fun.
Now, they've been making Helldivers has been making a few interesting updates lately. They have their thing that like cut over 100 gigabytes of install size
Yeah.
out of the game, which is interesting. Reading it was interesting because they're like, yeah, so we made assets that were supposed to be faster to load, but we realized that it was only shaving 1 to 2 seconds of load time and costing, over 100 gigs worth of install size. So they took it from like 150 something gigs or something down to like 20 something gigs, I think, at
Yep.
the end. And you're like, wow, that's a huge reduction in file size. So
Significant.
assuming they don't run into any major bugs with that build of the game, they're going to push that out to everybody. Then you'll be like, hey,
Yeah,
you want
it's
some hard
currently
drive space
available if
back?
you go into the beta branch.
Yeah, and it
Yep.
interfaces with the current branch, so you're not like
Yep.
playing a different character or something.
Yep.
That's really cool. I saw some interesting posts about Helldivers too. People saying that the game was really fun at the start, but the devs have screwed up a lot of the balance and
Well,
stuff
that's
like
been the
that.
discussion for a minute. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on who you talk to. There
Okay.
was that like months ago. There was like the whole controversy of them nerfing everything, and then they're
Mhm.
like, the game isn't fun anymore. And then they came back and basically unnerfed everything, rebalanced it, and in my opinion, brought it back to kind of where it was at launch.
Okay.
Um, it now I think it's fine. Like I think it's good. I
Okay.
haven't heard the recent critiques of the balance being problematic, but it's always an ongoing discussion with that community. And I also think it's because people have put so much time into it that they're just so invested in anything that kind of deviates from what they were expecting.
Yeah.
Leads to disappointment.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Just curious because having not really played Helldivers, I was reading up some recent stuff. Like, is it worth getting into Helldivers too? And that was like one of the big things people are saying now. They're like, it was great at launch, but now or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting.
The only
I wanted to get your take.
Well, I think it's worth playing at any time. I
Yeah.
think especially if you can get, I'm sure you can get it on sale. If you can get it on sale and just enjoy the base game and play with buddies or play by, with randos on the planet and just enjoy what Helldivers has to offer, like it's fun. You don't have to put hundreds of hours into it if you don't want to. I mean,
Yeah.
I have because I love the game, but you don't need to do that.
Sure.
And it's just a very cinematic experience. So I definitely think that Helldivers is worth it. Do you want to then invest and keep going with their progression? That's going to be up to you. My only critique is I know that people love, and I love it too, the way they handle their battle pass and their system is that it never ends. You can unlock things as you go, how you
Yeah.
want, right? Like that's great. But at this point, I think there's like 14 or 15. It's a lot. It's like 15 plus, I think, of different exclusive ones, and each one's $10.
Yeah.
And you can potentially unlock all that through in-game progression, but you're going to have to, like in Arc Raiders, play on the easiest missions, going from objective to objective to objective in just the most boring ass experience ever. Because at the higher levels, for some reason, they don't really hand out the credits as much. And so if you actually play the game at the higher level, you're like, like I said, hundreds of hours in the game, and I am constantly having to drop $10 because I just don't have the in-game currency to do it organically.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you want to, you're going to be, if you want all of the like gameplay stuff that's come after, it's not free. You're going to have to be forking over potentially $100+ extra dollars, which
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money, and I know people praise it, but I feel like we're getting to that kind of critical mass where it's like, those. It's not, of course, it's crazy, but like The Sims, where there's like all their DLC, and
Yes.
if you want
Yeah.
all of it's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing?
Hopefully they would do what most devs do, which is bundle stuff into a
Yes.
reasonably
Yep.
priced package. Where they're like,
Yep.
all right, we've made 8 DLCs and we don't expect you to just drop $15 on each of those because the base game costs $30. Like that's just crazy.
Right.
So yeah, here's the base game plus the crazy bundle, everything included for $45 or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you get that content.
And I would say that reminds me of a critique. A lot of like the cooler stuff is behind that paywall.
Yeah.
Like if you want the cool stuff, like you're gonna have to be paying some money. So still think the base game is worth. Like Helldivers is one of my favorite co-op shooters in the last like 10 years. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not perfect.
Yep. Fair enough, dude. Fair enough. I've got a question for our viewers, actually. This is something that I've been, just thinking about lately because I play Battlefield 6. I play it a lot. I'll play it over the weekend sometimes when they got their double XP boosts and all that stuff going on. And my son, who's 8, will hop in the office and he'll be watching me play and be like, oh, that was cool, or get that guy or whatever. And then he asked me, he's like, can you show me how to play Battlefield? And I was like, interesting. What age range do you start kids on games that are objectively violent? Battlefield is, you're shooting people in the head, you're dropping squads of guys, and it's not a gratuitous game in that it's not like Doom where you're like, I ripped this guy apart and organs are flying all over the place and my screen's covered in blood. But it's also a realistic looking game, and it's showing warfare that looks semi-realistic. And then, so I'd be curious to know from people listening, it's like, do you have kids? Obviously, I'm sure many of you are Battlefield fans. What age range do you go, all right, that's okay to like
right out of the womb, get them on those games day one.
Put the controller in their hands and just get them going. But I was thinking about it because I was like, we do play some games together and it's fun. I set him up. I made a Steam account using my wife's email, and then he plays on his Steam account. We'll play games together and stuff, but they're really simple, kind of cartoony games. That would be cool to play Battlefield, but I want to be a responsible adult and not like screw him up or something or desensitize him to violence, all those general parenting questions. So I guess it's a question for other parents out there and experiences,
for sure.
Yeah. In general, the sentiment seems to be is like, keep your kids away from screens as long as possible or give them minimal
especially like social media.
Sure.
100%.
Especially that 100%. But like even at the range now, which is like second grade, teachers are like, so we can already tell you the difference between, I can look at kids in the class and know which ones get a lot of screen time versus don't because of their attention span and their ability to pay attention. I'm going, oh man. Yeah. So, I mean, he gets his game time, but it's like limited. And then I go, okay, well, what do we limit it to, but
it's a new era for parents.
It is.
Absolutely.
This
is a new territory, and we're not going to know the repercussions, and we're not going to know exactly how to handle it probably for a while.
Yeah. I mean, we know some stuff and there's recommendations, but in the sense that we haven't raised an entire society yet on this tech. We're like, what does this look like in 40 years from now?
What are the exactly
when these kids are running everything, or 30 years really,
right?
Yeah,
right.
They're like, did we just give the entire nation ADHD by accident? Nobody can pay attention to anything,
no one can retain information. Yeah.
Presidential addresses will just have to be memes because otherwise nobody will like listen to them, right? It'll just be like a little blip. You're like, oh, did you see the presidential meme, and you're like, okay, is that what we're gonna turn into? Maybe I'm all for it.
Never know.
It'll be fun. The official TikTok, the White House TikTok account.
Official.
Oh man. Yeah. Something I wanted to talk about a little bit last week, but it's just one of those things that I'm like, there's incentive for me to not say anything about this, but I feel like it's just one of those things that bugs me. And I've
All
made
right.
YouTube content in the past where I'm like, this is not in my self-interest to keep talking about or to discuss, but it's just like a chip on my shoulder. I can't shake it.
Well, we don't have to talk
No,
about it, but it sounds like you
but I
want to
want
talk
to.
about it.
I do
Okay.
want to
All
talk
right.
about it.
Okay.
It's one of those things. So, as I'm working on a game, so I'm constantly like talking with other devs and learning about what game devs think versus what consumers think. I would say
Right.
prior to getting into the world of game dev, I was more or less just I was focused on the consumer market and what other gamers thought of games and viewed games from that perspective a little bit more. I'm getting a lot more perspective from the other side of the curtain. And there is a huge amount of silent resentment for platforms like Steam because of them having a monopoly on the market. And there was a recent like story that was talked about because the numbers came out of Valve being the most profitable company per employee in the world.
In the world,
And
yeah, yeah.
it wasn't even close. They were like somewhere around $50 million per employee versus the next closest competitor, which was a health insurance company that made
Oh
like
boy.
$8.4 million per employee. And
Yeah.
then further down the road, you got, I think I wrote it down here. We got Apple at 2.4 million per employee, Meta at 1.9 million per employee. Like Valve is like making so much more money than people that they have. It is absolutely
Per
crazy.
employee.
Yeah. Now, what annoyed me about this story is that most of the feedback and comments I saw on it were like, this is because Valve is such a fantastic company and they do all the right things and they do everything good. And while there is some truth to that, like I
Yeah.
do think for given that they essentially control a very lucrative monopoly, they have made a lot of consumer friendly decisions.
Yeah.
And they have not employed the typical anti competitive practices that other companies often do, which is like, oh, hey, these guys are developing a solid competitor. Why don't we just buy them instead of compete? You know?
Right.
And that's super popular, and tons of these big companies do it. And Valve, as far as I know, hasn't really done a lot of that. And they do technically have competitors, but in terms of percentages of sales, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Even when you like go Epic Game Store versus Valve, it's nothing. It's like nothing in the grand scheme of things. And so I've heard from a lot of indie devs, they're like, yeah, they kind of secretly hate Valve behind the scenes because if you publicly say it, you go, well, I don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to get dropped out of the Steam algorithm? And when I launch a game, will it not get stuff? So you've got a lot of devs going like, yeah, 30% cut from every indie game dev, whether or not it's profitable, is like huge. And I did a little research on this and was like, and asked like what percentage of Valve revenue comes from games that have 1,000 reviews or less, which in my opinion would be right on the edge of like success versus non-success, you know? Given that the average indie game costs about 500,000 to make, according to an article I read. Anyway,
Okay.
so Valve makes like about 50% of their money from games that only get like 1,000 reviews or less, which means they make a huge percentage of their income. Now, granted, this is me just doing some light research on the internet. If you quote this as actual fact, I would say go research it for yourself. I'm sure there's some variance in the numbers and whatnot, but I don't think I'm far off here. So it just means that they make a huge amount of their money from games that are not actually recouping their actual investments, you know, from companies that are failing and all this stuff. And then they get all this praise, and then Epic Game Store tries to do something and they get all this hate. But when you look at Epic Game Store, they say, well, guess what? Indie devs don't have to pay a cent until they make over $1 million. Also, after $1 million, we're not going to take 30%. We're going to take 12%. So it's just bugged me because the response to this article of Valve being the most profitable per employee has been chalked up to them being like such a great company that does all the right things. And while I like Gabe Newell and I think he's done a fantastic job of building a competitive company and all that stuff. It just irks me that like the obvious thing, the thing that people aren't saying, or rather devs are more afraid to say, is that they're one of the less developer friendly companies and one of the more consumer friendly companies. So they get all the love from the consumers, and the devs get screwed behind the scenes and don't want to say anything about it because what are you going to do? Badmouth Valve?
Yeah, they took 30%. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just one of those situations that I'm like, man, I hope some more light is shed on this eventually, because speaking with devs behind the scenes, a lot of them share the same sentiments and stuff like that. And you're like, oh yeah, like that 30% cut is huge. Not to mention there's additional little extra fees tagged on there and all that stuff. So like, and then you have to think like, do I work with a publisher in addition to that? So I lose 30%, and then a publisher would probably want
more.
It takes more, could be 50%, who knows, depending on what the deal is. And then you're like looking at this tiny little pie slice, and you're like, well, now we got to sell like 1 million copies just to be in the green. So it just gets harder and harder. And that 30% is also based on legacy game retail, where like when you went to GameStop to buy a physical box of a game,
right.
That 30% was to cover the retail cost and manufacturing things and ordering more game copies than you were going to sell and covering that overhead and having a physical retail location and employees and all that. You're like, okay, 30% makes sense. There's a reason for it. Digital marketplace, the actual cost of running these servers and maintaining that system is like negligible on that. It's why Epic Games can easily do 12% and easily not have pay indie or collect on indies until they hit $1 million. Like it's been proven on multiple marketplaces that 30% is just like way too much.
What's their incentive to change it other than public frustration?
Which I don't think
that'll ever happen.
There's no incentive. They're doing all the things correct in the sense of a capitalistic society, which under the rules of capitalism, it says if you're making money legally, keep doing that for as long as you can. And that's the rules, basically. So unless the laws or monopolistic oversight changes, it probably won't ever change, because the real driving force are the developers and not the consumers. And the consumers kind of have all the power here. The consumers go, we want all our games in one place. We want it on Steam. It's convenient. And the cost from buying a game on Steam versus on another platform is identical. So I'm going to pick Steam every single time. So yeah, it's a tricky situation. I just wanted to voice it because I could not believe the overwhelming praise that Valve got for arguably running their company well and creating a good platform, but without that behind the scenes knowledge that I feel like all the developers are like, this sucks. Like I know
I'm sure a lot of indie devs are like,
gonna,
they didn't need to have every employee, generating 50 million, because that money could have gone towards the developers that are actually the ones that are even making Steam even exist in the first place, right? Because if there wasn't any games, there wouldn't be a Steam. So I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to look up how many first-time developers tried and failed, and the margin of failure was close to that 30%, right? Where they're like, yeah, we're never going to do this again because we lost money and years of our lives making a product that just didn't quite do it. We learned a lot, and the next time around we could do much better. But that's a big thing in the industry too, is like everybody says your first game doesn't make money, but like a lot of that is because you need the experience of making that first game to understand how to do the second one better. And if you're killing off all these fledgling devs because they lost money on the first game, then you get a less experienced industry overall, or an industry that caters more to like the big people. I hear you. Yeah, it's been interesting. And Epic CEO Tim Sweeney has been really outspoken on this subject and talked about how like these practices actually hurt indie devs a lot and reward the big devs more so. But anyway, that's getting the chip off my shoulder, because eventually I'm going to be putting a game on Steam, and I don't want like somebody to be like, oh yeah, criticize Steam, will ya? Well, I'll see where you end up in the algorithm, like I have no idea.
I would hope that no one would be that petty, but
I would hope not too, but realistically, it's a black box. I'm never going to have a paper trail proving anything, right? So you're just like, they could do whatever they want and nobody would know. Yeah.
That's true.
So yeah, I'm saying it, but I'm saying it with like, boy, I hope this does. I'm not shooting myself in the foot someday, but
You're fine.
nobody.
You're late.
Yeah, Gabe doesn't listen to the podcast. We'll be fine.
I think it'll be all right.
He's our Patreon. He's our #1 Patreon member.
Secretly. I love this podcast, but I can't believe they're criticizing a part of our company.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my bit, and I thought it was interesting. Oh, I'll add one extra thing onto it that I thought was interesting is so like the Xbox store 30% cut, Sony store 30% cut, Nintendo store 30% cut. I think around that. I think that's pretty industry standard. However, that 30% is paying for the hardware development, the operating system development, and like production ship, all that stuff, and usually selling that hardware at a loss to get a big enough market so that they can sell a bunch of games to their consumers on that market. So like the companies that take that same 30% but do this giant mountain of a task in addition to it, you're like, okay, 30% is more understandable. But somehow Steam is like, nah, still 30%. And all we're going to do is like have a server that hosts your game so people can download it. And like, I know
granted, it's a server where everyone looks for new games and is a place where people can find those that they may not have normally been able to find.
Yes. No, there's a value in marketing your game in that spot, but it's kind of like YouTube where if you're not part of the algorithm on launch day, your game can get absolutely lost in the mix. And people have criticized it also for not really gatekeeping all the junk that ends up on the platform. So like a good game has to release alongside all the junk, which all has the same thumbnails and quality. So now somebody has to scroll through a bunch of titles and be like,
what do you mean my
trash?
busty anime waifu game isn't going to be unique compared to all the other ones? What do you mean?
Yeah. And yeah, I know you're upset that you didn't get to play the new horse game or whatever.
The new horse, like Uma Musume, that one? Or is there another horse game?
I don't know. There is a game that got banned on like Epic Games Store.
Oh, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. I just remember I
actually don't know anything about it. I just saw some comments that mentioned it was like some sort of horse inappropriate game or something. And I was like, okay, why are we upset about this? I could be wrong on that. I didn't want to.
Were people upset that it was banned?
I think so, but I really don't know if it was like, it's one of those things where a while back we had a whole bunch of those inappropriate games banned, and I'm making air quotes around inappropriate games, and there's kind of some backlash because it seemed like some of the credit card companies were taking a little too much control over what they deemed appropriate or inappropriate.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah,
this one seemed like Epic making the decision and banning it, but I don't know if they banned it. It must have been pretty raunchy or something. I really don't know. Because they have other games on there that are not approved on Steam that are approved on Epic Games Store. So they seem to be a little bit more lenient with some of the adult content and whatnot. Do you figure it out?
I'm not going to say.
You're not going to say. All right.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to repeat what I've learned. It is too horrific.
Gets apparently weird.
Yeah. Anyway, there was it was interesting to hear the amount of pushback against that, but I think maybe that's coming from a place of, when game stores control more or less the market, we all have the freedom to sell our video game on our website, but who the heck's going to find it and buy it?
Exactly. Right. Right.
So when they control the market and then they start making these rules and people go, well, you can change these rules whenever you want and delist games whenever you want. We don't feel particularly safe considering we invested, X amount of dollars and years of our lives building something that could change overnight.
You are beholden to their whims.
Yeah. Little bit freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I said my piece. I want to
talk about Elden Ring Night Rain.
Yeah. Or Flotsam. I want to.
Both were fun.
Yeah.
So Night Rain came out with their new DLC.
Yeah.
And it is more Elden Ring Night Rain. But I figured they would have like improved some of the weaknesses of the game, and they're just like, nah,
Weird.
screw you. So it's a co-op. It's basically Elden Ring
Yeah.
co-op, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't have to play it co-op. You can now play single player and duos, and I think it adjusts the bosses and stuff like that. But it's clearly advertised as a co-op. But when you play with randos, there is still no way to communicate to the randos. All
Yeah.
there is one ping. There's no contextual ping of like we should head here or we should, do this, that. There's no way to like VoIP. And so when you're learning a new map and everyone's just like, I don't know where to go, you're like, okay, who's going to kind of lead us? Because if we're all just running around with our heads chopped off in different directions, you're not going to win. Like you're just going to get slammed. And so, God damn it. It's like, why is this incredible company that makes these amazing games leaving out some of the most basic multiplayer functionality
Yeah.
in their title? And it grinds my gears so much.
They don't really do a lot of co-op or multiplayer stuff, right?
This was like their first foray into like really trying to develop something co-op related. Yeah.
What's weird about that though is like you have a infinite examples of companies making good co-op games.
Oh yeah.
With good communication tools and all that stuff. Yeah. Do you remember when Apex Legends came out and they had like that advanced ping system and everybody was like, whoa, the gaming has changed forever. Context sensitive pings. What? And then like every game after that has been using some form or modified version of that system. But these tools are out there. They're very easy to know and learn. It's wild that
even just a simple yes or no like ping system. Maybe it's in the game and I don't know.
Is there no like scroll wheel of like things where you're like, hello, this way, come on?
No, I don't think so. Maybe, like I said, maybe there is, but not that I have found, and not that I've seen anyone ever use around me. So what's so frustrating is that it is such an addicting game. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But God damn it. It is so fun to just be in that world and beating up bosses and leveling up and trying to get like an optimal build going. And like, it's a blast. Like the new bosses, the Dreg Lord in particular is super awesome. Like just an incredibly cinematic fight. Just, it feels fair, but like it's tough, right? Which is like the best kind of fight in a Souls-like. So I can't get enough of the actual gameplay loop. The new characters are really fun, but then you get down to like the relic system is just completely RNG on like that's the meta progression between rounds. You just kind of have to hope that you get like good rolls on the things that are going to allow you to play a certain way or, make your character better. They have obviously the no VoIP system. They've got a new map that is so vertical. If you try to follow someone, you're like, I don't even know where my team is right now. Then you look up and they're like 50,000 feet above you. And you're like, it's nuts.
Oh yeah. I've seen people fall off of the tall stuff and then they just fall for like days down to the ground.
So the new map is incredibly vertical, which is cool, but because of that, there's like 3 different levels of it, and the middle level just doesn't show on the mini map. You've got things that don't show up on the mini map, like your site of graces, which is how you level up. And so it's just a lot of running around lost because you don't know where to go. You don't know where your team is because it's just not great at illustrating where they are because of that verticality. And while you could just argue, well, got to learn the map. It's like, well, you got to learn a map while a circle is coming in, constantly pushing you to like constantly go, which is not very conducive to,
exploration,
learning the ins and outs of a map. So I absolutely love the game. I put a lot of time into it, but God, it really does feel like their first co-op kind of go around, and I was hoping that after it's already been out for so long and now this is their first DLC that they would have kind of tightened some of that those things and roughed out some of the edges, that it would be a little. No, it still has those kind of fundamental problems that at least I find to be problematic.
I've heard other friends of mine who are huge Souls-like fans say pretty much exactly what you're saying, which is like, I can't get enough of this gameplay. It's so fun. It's so cool. It's all the stuff I like, but my God, some of these base systems are just so poorly thought out and not well constructed. And you're like, it does seem like weird oversights for such a well-known, high budget company that should be capable of doing some of that basic stuff well. you know?
Yeah, and it sold well. It's already sold. The DLC I think sold 2 million copies already, which is
Yeah.
like for a DLC, it's like damn, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I
yeah.
I still enjoy it, but God, there is parts where I'm just like it. It can be very rage inducing when you're trying to navigate a map that's very vertical, but some of those vertical, like you're like, oh, can I jump down here? Okay, yes. Then another time you jump down and it's a hole and you die, and you're like, cool, cool, over and over and over again.
Well, lucky for me, I'm not a big Souls-like fan. I don't love bashing my head against pattern boss fight sequences. I can
Yeah.
respect it, but it's not my
Yep.
cup of tea. So
Fair.
I won't be playing that one and knowing firsthand well, what you went through. Now, tell
Fair.
me about the prequel to Jetsam.
So Flotsam
Yeah.
is a super cozy city builder, water world
Okay, yeah, I've seen
meets
this. I've seen this.
meets Rimworld vibe, where all you have at the beginning is a boat, and you've got your citizens, you got like 3 people,
Mhm.
and you go around in this world that is completely flooded with water.
Yeah.
There's a couple of structures, here and there scattered around, like lighthouses and stuff, and you need to explore and pick up trash basically to make a floating city.
Yeah.
And it's really, I love the idea of it, right? I love these dystopian trying to survive in horrible areas,
Yeah.
and a floating city is just such a cool idea, right? I
Yeah.
love that.
And it's a cozy dystopian game,
Very
which
cozy.
is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really colorful. You have to manage your citizens in a way where you want them to do tasks like in RimWorld, where you want them to do things that they like. And so you need to prioritize what tasks they're going to focus on first. So you've got the people that are out scavenging, while others are building stuff or making things for you. And it slowly ramps up to the point where you're getting a bigger and bigger city. It's more of a colony, right?
Okay.
Eventually they can get quite large, but
Trash
it's not going to be anything
colony.
like massive, because you are having to actually drive around with a boat, right? And so yeah, it reminds me of that like Air Kingdom. I can't remember the actual name of it, where you
Yeah,
make a flying
Airborne.
city.
There's Airborne Kingdom, and then their new game. This is Zach's
Airborne,
game,
yeah.
and then there's Airborne Empire.
That I think that's it. Airborne Empire.
Yeah.
And I really thought that was charming too. So it's very similar to that, but like I said, kind of more with the RimWorld, you need to manage your citizen kind of vibe and pick and choose who you're picking up. The one thing that does get a bit repetitive and can be a little annoying is that, like, for normal city builders, you make a mine and it just starts mining the resource that you need and you're good to go. And you never really have to worry about getting more resources from that particular mine.
Yeah.
There is some automation with this where you can get like seaweed farms and things like that. But for the most part, you're going to have to drive your boat to a location, suck up all the resources in that spot, drive to the next location, suck up all the resources over there, and you're just constantly ping-ponging your way through, which adds that progression because you're getting to harder zones where you're having to deal with like pollution or what have you. But it can get very repetitive to be like, all right, new spot, click on all the buttons like you did then the last, and it just repeat over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? So I did find that by the end of my night of like 6 hours, I was like, okay, that is getting a bit repetitive. But I love city builders, and they have some really cool animations for like all the buildings and stuff. So yeah, it's really charming.
Cool. I think charming city builders are like, they're just a lane that I can always get excited about. Even the ones that are like, what's that? There's like a tiny glade or something like that, which is like,
oh, that one's not even a city builder.
It's not even a game. Yeah.
You basically just making your own buildings in like cool ways. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're building like a little castle and village, and there's no actual game behind it.
Nope.
It's just extremely enjoyable. It's got fun little sound effects when you build stuff, and the environment reacts realistically, and you're like, man, that's weird that I just spent like 50 minutes building a castle and there's no objective of this whatsoever.
It lets you be artistic.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, taking that concept and then putting a game behind it, I'm like, oh man, Tiny Glade with actual gameplay behind it
Would
like,
be pretty sick.
Oh, I'd be 1,000 hours in that, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I've intentionally stayed away from some of the more addictive builder games like Factorio. I don't know if you played that one.
I have not played that, but I played Satisfactory. And the reason why I
Yeah.
haven't played Factorio is because I know what Satisfactory did to me.
Yes. Right. So it's like the sort of the never ending builder game where you're like, I can keep progressing indefinitely forever. And I think Factorio may even go further than Satisfactory on that front.
I think it does, yeah. You can like go to other worlds now and like in space and like mine asteroids or what have you. So it gets pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I know I would love this game, and that is why I'm not gonna play it, because I'll be like, family. I'll open the door with like a beard, like a long beard, and be like, no, family, you're all grown up. What happened? How long was I in here?
The Jumanji effect where you're just like, what year is it?
That's what it's gonna be. Yeah, I'll just get sucked into the game Jumanji style.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did remake those movies, but the remakes were so
I think they did
different. I like the original one.
Yeah.
Those were fun.
Was that the one with like Kevin Hart and The Rock? Was that Jumanji?
Yeah, and Jack Black and
that
other girl. They were fine, but they completely different vibe from the heavily comedy reliant, where the first one almost had a little bit of like horror in them. I don't want to say horror, but they're like kids movies with a little bit more scare.
There's definitely some spooks for it. Yeah. But it also had Robin Williams, and he's literally Robin Williams, so inherently just a funny dude.
Yeah. I gotta go back and look at those. It's really funny looking at kids movies from when we grew up and be like, oh, I remember loving this when I was a kid. And then like, cause I'm looking at them now to show to my kids, and I go, oh, I don't think I'm going to show this to them, or this is a bit different than I remember, or whatever. It's just funny.
What's hair on your chest?
Yeah. How times change, and like, gosh, so young when I watched movies like Terminator 2 or something.
Yeah.
Just like, how did I see this before I was 10? This affected
you turned out
me.
Okay.
Yeah. Totally.
For the most part.
Yeah. The usual 80s era flaws, but other than that, nothing too drastic, no big therapy bills or anything like that. I'm more or less in line. Maybe.
More or less.
Yeah.
More or less.
I'm of the philosophy, if you don't go to the doctor, they can't tell you what's wrong with you.
That's not how that works. That's not how that works at all.
You don't have the ailment unless you've been properly diagnosed, Matt. Do not take my medical advice for the record. This is terrible advice. If you think something's wrong, go to the doctor, get yourself checked out. Man. Well, I'm looking forward to the updates that are coming, both for Battlefield and Arc Raiders. It's funny how these two games are like kind of side by side releasing their stuff, and I'm like, man, now I gotta do this.
It's great. I love it. I love it.
I do love it if I wasn't so invested in both games, because I'm often picking and choosing. I'm like, do I do the progression tree for Battlefield 6 and get the stuff I want for that game? Or do I do the progression tree for Arc Raiders and get the stuff I want for that game? I can't get them both. I don't have that much time. So now I got to pick one.
And I'm over here just feasting on both. Just loving it.
Yeah. Mr. Streamer over here's got plenty of gaming time.
Yeah.
You thought that out right. You're like, why would I spend half of my time editing videos and posting content when I can just spend all of my time playing games?
Well, it's because I'm creating the content, sir.
Yeah. What'd you think of the streamer awards? Did you watch any of that?
I did not watch it, no.
Yeah. I saw it getting a bunch of flack.
Really my vibe. Yeah, because you put a bunch of people together who all want attention. Like, it's of course going to result in people making, I wouldn't say a fool of themselves, but yeah, things can get a little randy because everyone wants to be in the spotlight because that's the whole point of like these things is to be in the spotlight.
I did see a funny comment made by a streamer. He's probably big, but I don't know big streamers anymore. He was just talking about, he's like, this is what happens when you get like a whole bunch of introverts to host an awards show. Like these people are comfortable in their room with their cameras. You put them on stage in front of a giant audience and they are going to give you the worst presentation of all time. And
Yeah.
I thought that was a
It's
pretty
hard.
funny. Yeah. Not to like bag on the people doing presentations, but that is a kind of an apt look at how things going. Like, yeah, people who are in showbiz and actors and all that stuff make good presenters. They're comfortable up
Yep.
there.
Yep.
People who are used to talking into a camera with a number that says, "Oh, there's 30,000 people watching you." Like, that's a totally different experience. Yeah.
Completely different experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't watch the Streamer Awards. I just watch highlight reels and then comment on it, which is, I think, a better use of time.
I've got nothing against. I got nothing against it. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Wait,
maybe it's because
you're
I'm
gonna
not,
be
one of the bigger
invited
ones.
next time, Matt, and you're gonna be like, Streamer Awards, greatest thing ever.
Greatest
everybody
thing ever.
tune in.
It feels more like kind of an in crowd.
Yeah.
So they're all friends with each other, which networking. I respect it. That's part of the game, right? Is networking and knowing who to connect with. But yeah, I definitely don't know those people, and I'm not in the quote unquote in crowd. So it's just never been something
We'll get
I've
you
really...
in there, Matt. We're gonna make some connections, and then you can announce one of those categories next year, and we can all analyze your presentation. It'll be fun.
Oh baby,
you can't wait. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, interesting. The new, what's funny about this new stream setup is, YouTube updated their streaming system, which is cool. I'm all for updates. But previously, it would tell me how long we've been streaming for. Now I don't.
Streaming for an hour and 11.
You got it?
Minutes.
Where are you seeing it? Is it down here?
I'm seeing on OBS.
Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. Good to know.
I got you, big man.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Hopefully the new YouTube streaming system is good now. I don't know. I didn't get any memo about it, but
I'm sure it's fine. When has YouTube ever done anything poorly?
Yeah. No. They're totally fine.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying being a Twitch guy these days,
It's fine,
Yeah.
I do need to live stream on YouTube. That would be the smart thing to do, but I'm really weird, so I just don't.
Yeah. You my business sensibilities just cannot handle how you operate things sometimes. I'm like, just do it, Matt. Just do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. I'm well aware of my problems.
Yeah.
And it is a problem. It is absolutely a problem. Trust me, I'm aware.
You're doing fine. But yeah, I want to see your streams pop up on my YouTube feed, man. I want to see Matt streaming on YouTubes. Now that it's like it was a revolution for content creators when like Twitch finally dropped their like streaming platform exclusivity rule. Yeah, exclusivity, which was just so predatory and awful. And everybody went, huzzah, we're gonna stream on everything. And Matt, you're like, that's great. I'm gonna
do my thing.
Keep going down my road.
Just doing my thing. Yeah, no, I'm aware.
Yeah. It's all good. Well, I'll be here to watch your YouTube streams when you start doing it, Matt.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome. You want to wrap up the old Potteroony there?
Yeah, sounds good.
I know you want to hear about what happened in the Formula 1 season, so
I do very much so. Yeah,
save it for the post podcast chat.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for dropping by the Level With Me podcast. We appreciate you all very much. Again, the podcast airs on Wednesdays, and if you want to support the podcast further, check out our Patreon linked in the video description, where you can watch us record each episode live. And regardless of whether or not you're a Patreon member, Matt is going to give you some very useful advice at the end of every episode. Take it away.
So, because this is on YouTube and there's a lot of grifters out there about how to make money fast, right? Yeah. So this advice is how to make money fast in Stella Montis. If you go to the assembly workshop, you bring yourself in a Raider hatch key. If you spawn at the assembly workshop, just gobble everything up in that little area. You'll get a bunch of pinks or purples, whatever you want to call it, and then you can go right to the hatch that is like literally right there in the eastern corner, and you can get in and out 80,000 in like 2 minutes. I'm not even kidding. It is bananas. So if you have to get lucky with the spawn, but if you do, you're gaming.
It's good advice. I did try that as well. I actually went in with no weapon just as an experiment to see what would
Not at all.
happen. And this
Yeah.
dude tried to kill me and like was failing hard. I kept like shoulder rolling behind cover. And then it
Yep.
attracted every single ball in the region because he was shooting, and they all attacked him, and he kept getting like fireballed and hit by stuff. And then right
Nice.
at the end, when he was low, I busted out the melee weapon and took him down. And was just like, you should be ashamed of yourself.
He probably was ashamed of himself and
Yeah.
very frustrated.
Yeah, he was just like, oh, I failed. You know, now granted, he was trying to kill me with a pharaoh, so he clearly came in with like a free kit. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, if you're gonna try it, like, you know.
Yeah. So that is my advice of the week. If you are an Arc Raiders enthusiast who wants to make the monies, the fake monies.
Yeah, the money that will turn into skill points.
Yes.
All right, I might test it out. Maybe I'll go for 3 skill points. I don't know if I have it in me to get 5 skill points. I'm just gonna get too angry. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.